The trailer for The Chosen, Season 6, Episode 1, does not end with comfort. It ends with a weight that lingers long after the screen fades to black. We are left not with answers, but with a heartbeat of silence that tells us something unforgettable is about to happen. That is exactly what makes this episode feel different. It is not the start of a season. It is the beginning of the end. The final moments of the trailer almost feel like a farewell. Jesus' calm face, his quiet words, his steady walk, they are more than scenes. They are echoes of a man preparing for his greatest test. The camera slows down, the music softens, and the silence speaks louder than any line of dialogue. We are not just being entertained. We are being invited into a sacred story that has shaped the world for centuries. As viewers, we know the ending. We know the cross is near, and yet The Chosen makes us feel the suspense as if we do not know what will happen next. That is, its power. It reminds us that history is not just about facts. It is about people, choices, and emotions that still touch us today. Episode 1 will not simply show us Jesus' last day. It will let us walk beside him, breathe the same air, and feel the same weight that his disciples could not yet understand. And this is where the build-up leaves us. The questions linger. Will Episode 1 close with the Last Supper? Will it end with Judas stepping into the night? Or will it stop in the stillness of Gethsemane, just before the sound of soldiers' footsteps break the silence? We do not know, and that mystery is exactly what pulls us in deeper. For fans, this is more than a season premiere. It is the opening. Note of the final song, the spark that sets fire to everything that follows. The Chosen is preparing us for heartbreak, but also for hope. It is preparing us to see the greatest act of love ever told through the eyes of ordinary people who did not yet understand what was at stake. So as the screen fades and the trailer ends, we are left with one thought. The end is coming, but it is not the end we expect. Season 6 is about to take us on a journey that will break us, move us, and remind us why this story has never lost its power. The beginning of the end starts here, and it is something we cannot miss. The most powerful part of a trailer is not what it shows, it's what it makes us imagine. And The Chosen Season 6 Episode 1 trailer leaves us with endless possibilities. This is where fans step in. The conversation is no longer just about what's on screen, but about what could be coming next. Think about Judas. His silence in the trailer has already sparked debates. Some fans believe Episode 1 will reveal his betrayal in full, while others think Dallas Jenkins and the writers are saving that gut punch for later episodes. The mystery is intentional. It forces us to look closer, to notice the way Judas avoids eye contact, the way he lingers at the edge of the group. It invites us to speculate. Is this the moment he crosses the line? Or is it only the beginning of his inner war? Then there's the question of Peter's fire. Will we see the bold disciple making promises he cannot keep? The trailer hints at both bravery and fear. Many fans predict that Episode 1 will plant seeds of his denial's subtle warnings, small cracks in his confidence. If true, it means the season is carefully layering emotional dominoes that will fall one by one until the rooster crows. Another theory surrounds the Last Supper. Some believe the first episode might end right at that table, with bread breaking and wine pouring, leaving us in suspense before Judas departs. Others argue that the writers will push beyond, taking us into Gethsemane and brushing up against the moment of arrest. The trailer gives no direct answer, and that uncertainty is what fuels the excitement. But here's the most important part. This show is not only about what we think will happen, it's about how it makes us feel. And fans around the world are already sharing their emotions, awe, dread, sorrow, hope. Some are preparing for heartbreak, others for revelation. But all agree on one thing: this is the most emotional season yet. So now the question turns to you. What do you see hidden in those trailer moments? Do you think Episode 1 will end in silence, prayer, or betrayal? Share your theories, because The Chosen has given us a trailer not just to watch, but to wrestle with. And that's what makes it unforgettable. The trailer for The Chosen, Season 6, Episode 1, leaves us standing at the edge of history. We can feel the weight of what is coming, but we cannot step forward yet. The faces of the disciples, the quiet strength of Jesus, the whispers of betrayal, all of it ends not with closure, but with anticipation. And that is exactly why this season feels unlike any that came before. It is not just a continuation of the story. It is the road to the cross, the path that changes everything. The beauty of this trailer is that it does not need to tell us everything. Instead, it gives us fragment scenes heavy with silence, glances full of secrets, prayers that echo louder than shouts. It trusts us to know the story, but also dares us to see it in a new light. That is why the excitement is so intense. We know the ending, but we don't know how the chosen will guide us there. And that mystery keeps us coming back. This final season is not just entertainment. It is a journey into the deepest questions of faith, loyalty, and sacrifice. It challenges us to think, what would we have done if we had been there? Would we have stayed faithful or fled in fear? Would we have recognized the truth or turned away? These are not questions for the past. They're questions for us now. So as the trailer fades to black, the invitation is clear. Season 6 is not simply about watching Jesus' last dates, about walking it with him. It's about carrying the weight of his steps, feeling the tension of every choice, seeing love expressed in the greatest sacrifice the world has ever known. And now, the question is yours. What do you think will happen in episode 1? Will the Last Supper be the final scene? Will Judas step into the night before our eyes? Or will the silence of Gethsemane close the curtain on this first chapter? Share your theories in the comments, because your voice is part of this journey too. If this trailer shook you, if it made you pause, if it reminded you that this story still matters, then don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, share it with others, and subscribe for more breakdowns as we follow this season to its unforgettable end. Because The Chosen Season 6 does not just begin a new chapter, it begins the final one. And none of us can afford to miss it. What if you knew tomorrow would never come? What if every word you spoke today was your last? That is where we find Jesus in Season 6 of The Chosen. The trailer for Episode 1 does not just tease another story, it shows us the beginning of his final day. Every step, every glance, every whisper feels heavy with meaning. Because this is not just history being retold, this is the moment where destiny begins to unfold. Season 6 of The Chosen begins right where the world has been. Waiting with Jesus entering Jerusalem, his face calm, but his eyes carrying the weight of the future. The trailer makes it clear that the peace we see on the outside is not the peace of a safe life. It is the peace of someone walking directly into danger, fully aware of what is coming. The crowds are shouting his name, waving palm branches, praising him like a king. Yet hidden in the cheers are the whispers of betrayal, the plotting of leaders, and the shadow of the cross. The disciples seem full of hope in these first glimpses. They believe that the kingdom they have been waiting for is finally here. To them, this is the victory they dreamed of. But the trailer reminds us that their joy is not built on truth. They do not yet understand that Jesus' kingdom is not of this world. In every frame, we can feel the tension Jesus is trying to prepare them. But their hearts are still too blind to see the storm that is rising. What makes the trailer so powerful is how it mixes triumph and sorrow at the same time. The camera lingers on the disciples smiling, yet cuts quickly to the angry faces of the Pharisees. It shows Judas in the background, his eyes lowered, already wrestling with secrets. It shows Roman soldiers tightening their grip, ready to crush any sign of rebellion. These are not just random shots, they're warnings. Silent clues that the end is closer than anyone dares to admit. And then, in one of the most emotional moments, we see Jesus just pause in the middle of the crowd. His eyes scan the people, almost as if he is memorizing them, holding on to them before time runs out. It is a quiet shot, but it says more than words could. The trailer makes us feel it. This is not just another day. This is the last day that will lead to the cross. The trailer for The Chosen Season 6, Episode 1. It's not just a preview, it feels like a prophecy unfolding before our eyes. Every frame is designed to stir both awe and unease. Instead of simply showing us events, it pulls us into the emotions of the moment. as if we too are walking beside Jesus on his final day. One of the most striking images is Jesus at the table, breaking bread with his disciples. The lighting is soft, almost golden, but the expressions on their faces carry more weight than comfort. For some, there is joy in his presence. For others, like Judas, there is a shadow that cannot be ignored. The camera does not need words here. A single look from Judas, avoiding Jesus' eyes, is enough to plant dread in our hearts. It is as if the entire world is holding its breath, waiting for his next move. Another moment that stands out is the clash with the Pharisees. Their robes move sharply, their eyes full of fire. The trailer frames them not just as men of power, but as men desperate to hold on to control. Jesus stands calm against their anger, his voice steady, his presence unshaken. The contrast is powerful one. Side clings to earthly authority, the other radiates eternal truth. It is the kind of scene that tells us the storm is no longer coming, is already here. Then comes the silence of Gethsemane. The trailer shows Jesus alone, kneeling in the darkness, his face lifted toward the heavens. The wind moves through the trees, carrying whispers that only he can hear. It is one of the most haunting moments in the preview. We know what he is praying for. We know the burden he is carrying. The disciples shown nearby drift into sleep, unaware of how close history is to breaking open. The scene lingers, reminding us that the greatest battles are fought not in noise, but in prayer. What makes this trailer unique is how it balances intimacy and intensity. 1 second, we are pulled into a close shot of Jesus' tired eyes. The next, we see soldiers tightening armor, preparing for confrontation. We feel the weight of betrayal, the cold approach of chains, the silence before chaos. Every detail whispers the same truth: this is the beginning of the end, and nothing will ever be the same again. Season 6 does not open with action, alone it opens with meaning. The trailer for episode 1 is drenched in themes that go far beyond history or drama. It is a story about choice, sacrifice, and love that costs everything. What makes it so powerful is not just what happens, but what it represents. Every word, every tear is layered with emotion, showing us the deep human side of the most divine story ever told. One theme that rises above the rest is sacrifice. From the very first shot, Jesus is walking with calm determination, fully aware of what his journey will cost. The disciples may see triumph, but he sees the cross waiting just ahead. That contrast is heartbreaking, because it reminds us that victory, in God's eyes, is not about armies or thrones. It is about giving everything away, even life itself, for the sake of love. The trailer makes us feel this sacrifice before it even happens, and that is why every moment feels heavy, like time itself is slowing down. Another theme is betrayal. Judas is not shown making his choice outright, but the camera lingers on him long enough to tell us the truth. His heart is already slipping away. Betrayal is not just enacted, it is a seed growing in silence, and the trailer captures that with chilling precision. The audience knows what the disciples do not, and that painful knowledge makes every shared laugh, every hopeful smile feel like a countdown to heartbreak. We also see loyalty tested. Peter, James, John, and the others stand beside their teacher, but their understanding is fragile, they believe. They are ready to defend him, yet the trailer foreshadows that courage will soon crack under fear. Their loyalty shines bright, but like a candle in the wind, it is at risk of going out. This tension draws us in, because we are not only watching history, we are watching human weakness clash with divine strength. Finally, the deepest theme of all: purpose. The trailer shows Jesus not as a victim, but as someone fully in control, fully surrendered to his mission. His calm expressions, his measured words, his quiet prayers, they all show us that this ending is not defeat. It is destiny. The emotional weight here is almost unbearable, because we realize he is choosing this path freely. That choice transforms tragedy into salvation, and pain into victory, in just a few minutes. The trailer paints a world where hope and sorrow walk side by side. It reminds us that the story of Jesus' last day is not only about suffering, it is about love so strong that it rewrites the future. And as viewers, we are left breathless, carrying the same question. If this is only episode 1, how much more powerful will the rest of the season be? The trailer for The Chosen Season 6 Episode 1 is not just a glimpse of what is coming, it is a puzzle filled with hints, shadows, and questions that fans are already trying to answer. This is where speculation comes alive. Every cut, every silent look, and every sudden pause feels like a clue planted for those who are watching closely. One of the biggest theories centers on Judas. In the trailer, his presence feels louder than his words. The way the camera lingers on his face, the way he looks away from Jesus, the way he seems out of step with the others, it all points to the growing storm inside him. Fans are already debating, will episode 1 show the exact moment when Judas makes his deal with the priests? Or will it leave his betrayal hanging in the shadows until later? Some believe the episode will end with Judas leaving the table in darkness, the point of no return. Others think it will stretch his conflict across multiple episodes, making his betrayal all the more shocking when it finally happens. Another powerful speculation is about Peter's denial. The trailer shows Peter standing close to Jesus, his eyes full of fire and devotion. But we know where this road leads. Fans are asking if episode 1 will drop the first signs of Peter's struggle, his pride, his temper, and his fear of losing everything. Some suggest that a line in the trailer where Jesus speaks of loyalty is a hidden warning to Peter. If that is true, then episode 1 might already be laying the foundation for the night when the rooster will crow. There is also the question of Roman power. We see soldiers tightening armor, scanning the crowds, watching Jesus with suspicion. Could episode 1 end with his arrest being set into motion? Or will it stop just before that, leaving us hanging in the calm before the storm? Fans are split. Some expect the episode to close with Jesus in prayer at Gethsemane, while others think it will climax with soldiers marching into the night. Either way, the trailer makes it clear that confrontation is unavoidable. And finally, there is speculation about the tone of the season itself. Some fans believe that episode 1 will focus heavily on intimacy, the quiet meal, the private prayers, the close bonds between Jesus and his followers before plunging into betrayal and chaos in later episodes. Others argue the trailer suggests the opposite, that episode 1 will be the spark that ignites the fire, launching us immediately into the events that lead to the cross. The beauty of The Chosen is that it does not just retell what we already know, it surprises us, makes us feel like we are experiencing it for the first time. That is why the fan theories are endless. Everyone is asking the same question, but with different expectations. Where will the first step of Jesus' last day take us?